Welcome to Closing Conversations, a show for founders, leaders, and sellers who win together. I'm Max Notis. Today's episode starts with bourbon and hockey, and then turns into something a lot deeper. My guest is Brian J. Esposito, a builder, operator, and someone who's been through the kind of real-life business trauma that you don't hear people talk about enough. He's had massive wins, massive setbacks, and a mindset that's equal parts sharp, honest, and battle-tested. We talk about what success actually is when you strip away the noise, why some of the best deals are the ones that don't close, and how work can be really an addiction, why perspective is everything, and how to protect your time, your energy, and your life from the people who bring chaos instead of value. This one is raw, funny, and unexpectedly human. Let's dig into it. Brian, obviously you and I met a week or two ago?
Seems like forever. Kindred spirits.
Yeah, we hit it off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I personally was flattered that you wanted to come on the show.
Are you kidding? My absolute pleasure and honor. So I'm flattered you wanted to have me.
And then we come on to this conversation. You've got a bourbon. Oh my God. Bourbon's one of my favorite things in the whole world.
Jefferson's is one of my new favorites.
I've got Michter's Rye.
Ooh, I'm going to have to pick that up. I never had that.
I love it. Yeah, I got into rye a lot last year. And then my wife and I went to Ireland, and I started drinking almost only Irish whiskey.
Is that a chilled glass you pulled out too?
Yeah, I keep my bourbon glasses in the freezer. That way I'm ready to go.
And you don't water it down. Respect.
No. It's also, I'm a big hockey fan, and I'm a sucker whenever a hockey player comes out with their own bourbon. So Jeremy Roenick, who...
Oh, my Chicago Blackhawks, my favorite player of all time.
Oh, Chicago! I've got a Chris Chelios jersey on the Blackhawks. I grew up loving him.
Old Max. The chills.
Well, so anyway, Roenick, who is a noted alcoholic, recently came out with his own whiskey. And I'm like, I still got to try it. And they came with these cool glasses with a mountain on the bottom. And
awesome. He's my favorite player of all time.
Is Roenick?
Oh, yeah. I
always
reference him. And you'd think I would go with Phil Esposito, but I'm not going to do that.
Why Phil Esposito? Oh, because your last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tony.
And we lost Tony last year. 2 years
I know.
Ago.
Damn it, I didn't even realize you were that big of a hockey fan, and we didn't even hit that.
We're going to hit a lot today, man.
My dog's name is Gordie Howe. I'm not kidding. And the book behind me is Ken Dryden's book, The Game.
All right, well, when we get to hang out together, we're going to pour Jeremy Roenick's whiskey, of course, and we're going to watch slap shots, and we're going to have a great fucking night.
I literally play ice, and my team is the Chiefs.
Paul Newman's best role.
Dude, it's such a good movie, and it holds up so well. I remember showing my wife, and I hadn't seen it in a while. I'm like, is it just kind of like a slapstick?
No, it holds up.
It's so clever.
It holds up.
It's so actually funny. My God. All right, so where should we take this? Where do you want to go?
I mean, we're in places right now I never thought we'd go, so let's just keep the conversation going. I mean, this is your home, Max. I'm in your house. You bring me where you want to bring me.
We'll just kind of take a step back and then kind of have at it for, wherever. Because the truth is I could talk about whiskey and hockey for 100 years, but maybe we just talk about whiskey and hockey.
I mean, you could talk about the importance of sitting down and having this to me. Now, I wish my addictive personality is work, and Christian can vouch for that. So I never got into anything that was a vice as far as, I know when to stop. And I think high school was probably the last time I was actually inebriated and drunk, just because.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't even go that level.
Mm-hmm.
But what this is for me, maybe like a girl, I guess even guys getting a manicure or pedicure, the disconnect. To me, this is the disconnect. Maybe people that even smoke. This is my moment where I can slow this fucking whatever it is, slow it down, turn it off, and allow me to breathe. So this is an important part of my process. So we could talk about the importance of it means to disconnect. And then with hockey and all my companies and work and holdings, sport and teamwork and the right tools and resources and equipment and the right people in the right positions, it's key to everything.
All right, you're giving a lot of things to go. And this is such an interesting one because I started this podcast because I founded a company where we coach sales teams, we build sales teams. And the whole idea is we're in it with the seller as much as we're in it with the company. And that's why we're successful. We've really got their back. And I started the podcast because I found myself having conversations with founders that I found, well, salespeople love to help salespeople. We live in a different world than other people do between 9 and 5 with more pressure and everything. And I found when I started this company, it was the same with founders, with entrepreneurs. Even if they're competitive, they want to help each other in some way. And I remember thinking, I'm having all these conversations with sellers, with founders that like, God, I wish this person heard. That would have been helpful. I wish they heard this person say that. They might have even taken more seriously. But as I have more of these conversations with sellers, with founders, with leaders, the amount of the conversations we have that end up gravitating towards taking care of yourself is staggering, is like 90+%, I'd say. And now I personally, I'm in therapy. I love therapy. I go to therapy once a week for 10 years now. I had therapy this morning, and I think I've become just more aware of this, more aware of my own tendencies. And I similarly have an addictive personality, and work becomes one of those things. And work is interesting because when you think of, like you were saying, having a smoke, having a drink, that's removing you from your world, and that can become addictive. But work can has its own addictive nature, but it's kind of in the opposite direction. And you're trying to fulfill something or satisfy something or itch something within you. At least for myself, for a while, I felt like if I'm not working to the point where my brain is throbbing every day, then I'm fucking lazy. And that's really fucked. That's really like not the right way. And maybe there's an old mentality. Maybe that's my parents' voice in the back of my head from a different time, but it's there. And I even like to the point where I was talking about this in therapy, where I'll have, like right now, my company is beating every projection that I thought it would have. I am so fucking lucky and fortunate and all these wonderful things.
Hard work, dedication, consistency, well before luck. They sprinkle a little luck in there, but it's your moves and your effort.
We make our own luck. It's a lot of things. But when I lose it, so my company's doing so well, but when I don't close a deal, even if this was nothing to do with me, it was like purely circumstantial, I beat the shit out of myself. I say to my wife, I'm the worst boss I've ever had. And I was saying to my therapist, I'm like, and I know that this is happening. And I know that, like, realistically, like, I may have times where I have 15 clients. I may have times where I have 2 or no. Like, this is bound to happen. But it's like I can't control it. I said, I feel like I almost have like an OCD of some sort where this happens and I don't know. And she says it is. Like, there's like a chemical thing, the DNA thing within you that's kicking. And the more that you pay attention, or I found this, the more that I pay attention to like meditating, to playing hockey, exactly as we're saying, like take care of myself, the better I am at work. It's the opposite, as I always thought growing up, where put in more, but you actually put in less. You're your better self there when it matters.
Yeah, I haven't figured that balance out. I'm working on it. Like for me, it's work is my passion, work is my hobby, helping people, putting a strategy behind something and seeing it take motion and have some momentum and success is the best feeling in the world. And then seeing other people light up through that that's my drug, right? Seeing somebody else light up. I will say there is something very true. I don't know if you believe in fate or if you believe in certain levels of karma or destiny, but some of the best deals are the ones that don't close. So if you even added another layer to that and saying, okay, maybe somebody or something was stepping in for this deal not to close, and I wasn't supposed to work with that person because they're a problem, or they would be draining, or they would allow me not to go. That client is like having 3 clients. They're so demanding, they're so needy. So you have to also, everybody's wired differently. But for me, I either foolishly or find ways to justify or rationalize. I have to do this, and I have to always spin everything that's negative into a positive. I need that, but within reason. And I also need to learn from it. So if it's a negative situation and I put myself in that situation and the outcome either wore me down, it beat me up, it made me feel insecure, made me feel stupid, I need to look at that situation, not spin it to a positive, like just to get it out of the way, but analyze it. What happened? How did they get in that position? I can never have that happen again. That was the reason for it. It's learning from the setback, learning from the missed opportunity. But again, I truly believe everything does happen for a reason. I believe everybody you meet for a reason, whether good or bad. And that's the part of the journey. I've been a little bit more self-aware in my journey. So I learn to evolve quicker because, my company motto is time is our most precious commodity. Like I have that burnt into my mind. So I'm not going to waste time on something that may optically look like a failure, or optically look like the transaction was a miss or a bad transaction, I chalk it up to a learning experience always. And as long as we have our health, we're good. We can figure anything out. If you're just going at it and looking at life with money, I think that's a misuse of your time, and I think a very unfortunate mentality to have.
I agree with everything you're saying. I read this great quote, and it was like, the way everything's happening for you, it's not happening to you. And if you look at it like that, like, I'm even, as you're saying, there are deals that weren't supposed to happen. I'm thinking of one that I quoted them nothing just because I was early on, and I'm like, I just need the business, and I'm equating my self-worth as a person to if I close that deal. And when you're desperate, you don't sell well, you don't lead well.
And that energy you can sense it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I've read this great thing where the author was saying it's really important to define, like, what does a successful day look like? And it's beyond work. Like, what does a successful day look like? And I started outlining it. It's like, did I meditate in the morning, even just for 5 minutes? Did I get to play with my kids before? Did I take my kids to school? Then when I was at work, did I advance the company? Did I help the salespeople? Are they benefiting from working with me? Did I help my wife in some way? Did I go to the gym? And when you list it out, it's like 80% of those things are actually nothing to do with work. And if you have that, you feel better in the day. And you got to kind of trust yourself that then what's meant to be will be.
Well, it sounds like you got a good wrap around a routine that works for you.
Yeah, but like you're just saying, like, I'm trying. Yeah, like logically I can say this, but in my world, in my heart rate, like, no, man, I'm not great at this stuff.
It depends who you ask. I mean, you've created a business, right? You're one of the very few out of the billions of people around the world that have their own business. Amazing. You have actually revenues coming in. You have clients in a pipeline of clients. You have a family. You have a home. You have, don't care about the size. Like, you have a structure in a dwelling. You have healthy kids and wife, and you won. If you're chasing shit, you're never going to win. If I woke up every morning and it was like, oh my God, Elon Musk has 15 airplanes and I don't, I'm a loser. Like, you can't think like that, because if that's your mentality, you'll never find happiness, ever.
In that same book, they was saying, like, he calls it the gap in the gain. And I'm referring to this book by this guy, Dan Sullivan. And he says it's like being on a boat and there's the horizon. And if the horizon is your ideal, every time you get closer to it, your ideal is also going to move and you're going to be miserable. And like, if you're a salesperson and you're saying, like, well, I'll be happy when I hit my quota, you're going to be happy once a month. And then you're miserable for 29 days. Like, and whereas if you look at the shore and how far you've come, that's a better way to measure yourself.
Absolutely. And yeah, take a step back. I always tell people, give yourself credit. Look at the wins, look at the milestones, look at what you've achieved. And again, never comparing to others. Now, if you're just a competitive person and that's the only thing that motivates you, then I get that mentality. Then they need to compete because that's what drives them. But that's not me. I've never been that. I like move an inch a day. At the end of the month, you move 30 inches. Like, that's my strategy. As long as we're moving and we're in motion and there's momentum behind us and we're going in the right direction, even if we have setbacks, I don't care. But as long as we're in motion, you can even reference a fucking stagnant puddle of water. You don't want anything to do with that. And then look at a beautiful Colorado rushing river. Like, it's just clean, it's inviting. Fluidity is so important to everything. So when you look at what you're building and your businesses and your clients that are lucky to have you and you coaching them and supporting them, like, they're the ones that are blessed to have you too, right? Because it's got to be a two-way, a win-win for everybody. It's, you shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm blessed to have this person because I can pay my mortgage, I can pay whatever, I can take my kids on vacation. Both parties coming to the table have to feel that, wow, this is great. This is a great moment with two people coming together and creating value. And the byproduct of that is money, right? Or the byproduct of that is a good experience, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's the shitty thing about life. And if someone like you that's working at it, right? And I love how vulnerable you are. You're proud to say that you speak with a therapist. That's amazing. I would love to speak with a psychiatrist or a therapist. I haven't found one that would do me justice, because if you're talking to the wrong one, well, they do more harm than good, right? And I don't need to unpack, oh, my dad didn't make me an omelet when I was 12 and he yelled. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, I had I understand where I came from. Every household has its issues. Every household has tension and frustration and we're all human beings. So I'm thankful that I didn't have super awful experiences like anybody getting slapped around or like none of that crazy shit. So when I'm looking at where I came from, well, I had a great life. I'm not going to go back and unpack stupidity and just human beings being human beings. So I don't, every therapist I ever spoke to, they want to go back to what happened to you as a kid. Oh, you have issues because your mom didn't pat you on the head. Like, I'm happy. Like, don't throw problems on top of what I'm trying to fix. And, my problems in life is deeper connections with people. Like meeting you, our first call, like we got pretty deep, which was great. Like I meet and work with so many people, but it's at such a superficial level. There's just people that I know I can't go any deeper with this person. I can't have an emotional connection with this person. We can have good moments and experiences. We can build great things together, but that's it. And every once in a while, you get a gem of a person where you're just vulnerable as shit. You tell them exactly how you feel. You don't even know why you're unloading things, or vice versa. And that's one of the most magical things about life. But the only way that you achieve that is being out there, is putting yourself out there, is meeting new people. And I think my numbers are like every 1,000 people I've ever met or known or talked to, maybe there's one decent one that I can connect with at a different level.
And I think a lot of that, even as you're saying, like, unpack this, unpack that, I had a golden upbringing as well. But in therapy, little things that I may have just chalked to whatever, like, well, there's some validity to this, to that. And what it ended up doing was it made me more comfortable or understanding of myself. And, as you're even saying, well, a deal, hey, you're not just getting the business from them, they're benefiting of working with you. That takes a knowledge of your own self-worth and a real understanding. Like, confidence isn't told. Like, your parents can tell you you're wonderful, you're wonderful. If you don't internally believe it, it doesn't matter. So that feeling of self-comfort, of self-worth, I think those kind of are two sides of the same mountain. And when you have that, then it is okay to be vulnerable. Hell, it's enjoyable to be vulnerable.
It's strength. Most vulnerable people I've ever met in my life, I say, and myself included, I'm like, that is a strong man or woman. That is somebody that doesn't hide behind bullshit, trying to pretend that's somebody that they're not. Because if you're not vulnerable, I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you're not vulnerable and not being genuine, and I'm wasting my time with you, then I have no idea who the fuck you are, right? And I don't really want to go through the exercise of trying to find the real you. Like, and this is one of the things, a lot of people that have a mentality of, what can I get from that person? And I meet a lot of these people. What can I get? That's the only thing. What can I get from that person? And when they meet me, their brain breaks because they don't know they can't manipulate me. They can't affect me. I don't care what you have, what's in the bank, what your stupid belt logo is. I don't care. None of that stuff motivates me or inspires me, or if anything, does the opposite. And maybe I need to work on that, because I do like the idea of people being able to achieve great things and have great things. I love that. But I don't like the idea of you being obnoxious about it and making other people feel bad because they don't have it. Like, there's a very fine line. But back to what I was saying, it's very funny to watch when I was in a meeting the other night, and a gentleman that I have known for 9 years, very successful guy, if you're just looking at money, right? Very successful guy, just based off of that. We never worked together because I've known him for 9 years, because he knows I know his shit without us even talking, right? And I went to a meeting. I didn't know he was going to be there, but again, powerful guy. And he couldn't even look up and look me in the eye because he was trying to finagle everybody else in the room. But I threw him off just by being there and being present and understanding, and always understood that this guy looks at people like a mark and really doesn't add value. He's a taker. But because he's taken and built things, people think that he's the right person to partner up with. And no, but it's very funny on my journey that I don't know if it's a soul thing, if it's a confidence thing, if it's being present, but it's hysterical to watch. Would you say, Christian?
All the above.
All the above. It's hysterical to watch the wrong people can't look me in the eye. It's amazing. And then I know instantly, like, nah, we're not doing anything together. This person can't even look me in the eye. They just know I see through them. And I see through them because I've been through so much hell. Right? I've been through so much shit, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the bruises and the battle scars and burn marks from head to toe that I've been through in life and business. And what's the rationalization and the justification for that? It's so I don't go through it anymore going forward. So fixing problems was so much of my history and career. Now it's preventing the problem from happening in the first place. That's the fun part. And then your time, energy, your resources, it's all focused on really no noise, no drama, no chaos, no stupidity, surrounded by the right people, because you can spot out the bad ones and you can enjoy life, enjoy your day to the best of its ability.
Yeah, listen, obviously I'm thinking a lot of what you're saying. I'm even thinking, going back to what we were saying about, like, self-preservation, about like taking care of yourself. I don't think that that's an innate people thing, or at least for myself, it's not. It's something that I had to start looking at after enough pain, after enough, like, I can't fucking live like this. Like, this is really driving me crazy. And maybe for years, I mean, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. And I'm just losing sleep at night, but no, that's fine. And just, you're just kind of eating it and hurting. But once you actually get to face it head on, it cracks open and oh my God. And all the shit makes sense and you appreciate and you look at things a little bit differently. But it's like, yeah, like just like you're saying, there was a book my mom always used to reference, like called The Blessings of a Skinned Knee. And it's like you burn your hand on the stove, you learn not to touch it, and you're going to live a lot better and a lot longer.
It's very true. But I just had this conversation too yesterday, like, to somebody that's really focused on teaching people verbally, like through his experiences. And I'm like, I love it. But from my experiences, you don't learn unless you go through it yourself. And I even use the hand on the stove example. I always do. Like, there's no other way where it's going to be burnt into your DNA unless you got your ass kicked because you physically, emotionally, mentally went through it. And I can tell somebody that's on blue in the face all of my journey and life lessons. And even the startups and the CEOs I get to work with that come inside of my holding company and we partner up, I know I need them to get their ass kicked a little bit. And like, I know what's coming and I will not say anything. It's hard for me because I care about people, but I want them to get slapped in the face because I would not be doing them a service if they didn't get seasoned on how to be good management or a good CEO. But catch-22 is I won't let it get too far. But they need sting. You need the sting of life. You need the sting of action, reaction, cause and effects. You need it. It's important. And if you don't, and what is the point of living if you don't go through those exercises? Yeah, if everything was just puppy dogs and ice cream, then I don't think you really enjoy life because you didn't go through turmoil, heartache, disappointment, negative. I mean, Christian here is one of the best script writers and producers and does incredible things. And it's not easy what he's doing. And he's out there hustling and trying to figure it out. And the more that he's been through and the more that I've been through in my career, when those wins happen, hell, your soul is on fire because you went through so much shit. And now you know you have the right people around you, you have the right momentum behind you, and you have the right learning experiences to be a successful blank, Mad Libs, whatever you are in life, whatever your passion is, whatever your career is. Like, you can't just wake up one morning and be the best. And I don't think you ever are. And even when you die, you're never not learning. You're never not evolving.
You're making my brain go to a couple places. One, we were talking about hockey, and I think I was reading one of those Players Tribune articles, and I think it was Ryan Whitney who wrote one. And he said it was the kids who were the most talented were never the ones who made the NHL because they had it good. They had it cushy, and then they never went past there. It was the kids who fight in the corner, dig for the puck. They ended up, working and working and working, and then they would surpass those other folks.
Sure. Well, they didn't go home and cry out. They didn't. Dad, the coach didn't put me in. I thought you guys were best friends. It's just like, come on.
There's a great documentary called The Defiant Ones, and it was from a few years ago. One, you know what I'm talking about, with Jimmy Iovine. And he's telling the story of when he's managing the band No Doubt. And he says to them, like, you guys are fantastic. Like, go on the road for 5 years and then we'll talk. And they're like, what are you talking about? He goes, no. Like, you need to, like, the Rolling Stones weren't the Rolling Stones overnight. They toured and toured and toured. The Beatles lived together. Like, one in a studio apartment in in Liverpool. And with that, you learn what happens when one guy's mic kicks out. What happens when this person, and you go through it, you get tight, and then your writing gets better. And it doesn't happen naturally. It takes pain. Like salt makes chocolate taste better. Salted caramel is now like one of the most popular ice cream flavors in the world because it's both. The good times aren't good unless you've known what a bad time looks like. And like, I told you on our earlier conversation, like I was divorced at 27 and that brought me into therapy. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what the hell is going on in my life? And because of that, like I went to therapy for that and I stayed for 1,000 other reasons where I realized all these other things that I never thought about. And this never would have happened if it weren't for that horrible ordeal. And now when I talk about the divorce, I'm so thankful it happened. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me because it put my life on the track that it should have been all along, that it could have been all along. And I think even leading up to, I was depressed thinking, I guess this is just how things go. And it gave me an opportunity to stand on my own 2 feet, but it's not happening. Like you're saying, you don't get sharp teeth unless you get punched in the mouth a couple of times.
That's 100% true. When you first started with therapy, are you still with the same person? Did you get lucky with the first one?
Yeah, 10 years. And yeah, I walked in and I'm like, I need help. And I'll never forget. She's like, "Why are you here?" Same thing I start every sales call with. "Why are we here? Why am I even talking to you today?" And for the first time I said, because my wife was cheating on me. And like, oh my God, I hadn't said that yet. Like, hadn't actually come out of my mouth. And then she and I were like supposed to go to Mexico, which is nuts, but we were going to visit a friend of mine. And I'm like, "Do I still go?" And she says, "I think you should still go." She goes, "But it's not going to be like you're there and you forget about this. Like, it's going to be hard." And that was so helpful to just be aware of, as opposed to I'm thinking, "All right, I'll go. I'll be with my buddy. We're going to get fucked up and we'll all be fine for a few days." Like, and then I'm really disappointed when I'm sad and I don't know why. It was so helpful to have that insight. And the therapist also, I'll never forget this. I call her and I say, "What's your rate?" And it was really expensive. And I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Like, and she could tell that I'm freaking out about that. And she called me back and she said, "Max, like, I just want you to know, like, you will get through this." And at that point, no one had said that to me. It was all, "Oh my God, are you okay? This is terrible." And it was, but no one had said, "You will get through it." And then, like, it was like the fucking Talking Head song, like, "How did I get here?"
This is not my beautiful house.
Exactly. And it's exactly that. And then, well, how did this happen? How do we get to this? And then, oh my God. And then all of these boom, 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 boom. And now it's 10 years later and I'm married with 2 children, starting a company. Like, oh my God, like things I never would have dreamed of. And it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for that shit,
You have the right mentality, the right strength, the right confidence around being grateful for, again, optically, a bad situation. But you're grateful for it. That's great. I mean, you're doing great. Proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and you did get through that. Not that you will get through it. You did get through it.
1,000%. Now it's easy to talk. It's fun. It's like I'm genuinely like appreciative of it. There was a point where I was, "Oh my God, I can't talk about it." Everyone's thinking it when I'm in the room.
You feel a level of shame, just so many different.
It flipped to a point where there was a level of pride of like, "Oh my God, look what I just overcame." Like, I'm going through shit that no kid my age is going through.
And thankfully, no kids at that point, right?
I like couldn't stop talking to it, about it with people. Like, I wore like, "Hi, I'm Max. I'm divorced." Like, I was wearing like a badge of honor. And then after a while, that like levels out to just be, what a great dose of perspective. Like, wow, how much, like you're saying, you with these companies, like, no, I want them to go out and like, dog it for a little while, not too much. But also when you're going through that, you learn what you're capable of and you're pushed to a limit. Like, like hell, going to the gym and you have a trainer and they're like, "You can do one more." And then somehow you fucking muscle out that one more rep. Wow. I had no idea that if I were by myself, I never would have been able to do that extra rep. So I think there's a lot of validity to this. You don't get shredded unless you're unhappy with how you look. There are a lot of things in life we don't do because we want to, we do because we have to. And then we become better from those things.
I agree. And now I do think people will come into your life because they're supposed to. So the woman you're with now, I think you would have met her anyway. But what a better appreciation you have for her, right? Because of your ex, right? You would not have looked at her in the same light and love and grace that you look at her now if you didn't go through that shit with somebody else.
Yeah, I've said this to her, where I think if I'd met her, I would have wanted to marry her regardless of what junction in life. But I also was a better version of myself than I would have been.
Appreciate her more because of the person that she is, and she's not some of the persons of your ex. Like, it's
All
just
right. And you want to hear something crazy? It's our anniversary today.
no way.
Yeah, I swear to God.
It's just amazing. I'm glad that you chose to be with me today. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's the right choice. But later on tonight, I wish you guys a happy anniversary.
I appreciate it. I do.
Wedding or first date or engagement?
Wedding.
Oh, way to go.
Yeah, wedding anniversary.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's just, what a world. What a fucking world. Like, all of these things, they just kind of like, we all get to where we're supposed to be, one way or another.
It's true. But I think people get there sometimes because it's on their path, not prepared for it. You're prepared for it. I think I'm prepared for it. I've been through more than the average bear, but I also know it's a hell of a lot worse for certain people. So I know, God, I can't complain. Whatever my worst day is, I can go sit in St. Jude's waiting room, right, and say, no, it's not that bad. Or I can look at Beirut and be like, no, it's not that bad. I'm a grace blessed enough to get food anywhere, get drink, have something to wear, have shelter. So even on your worst day, the privileged people that could be listening to this, you should know it can be a hell of a lot worse. And if you're listening to this, you have time, you have a device, you have an internet plan, like you're blessed, that you have some blessings, and people need to understand that and cherish that and really take a moment again and feel, I am blessed. And if you want more things and then you're comparing that to being blessed, then you need to work on what life is really all about and what kind of mark you're trying to leave on this life.
So again, I think we could have talked hockey for 1,000 hours. I think we could talk this for 1,000 hours. I'm like really digging this. And one thing you said to me on the last conversation was, I have negative time for bullshit. Like for people who are negative, like I have no fucking thing. As you're talking about perspective, I'll never forget the day I found out that my ex-wife was having an affair. And like, this objectively has to be the worst day of my existence. Like, this is so huge. And I'm thinking this at the time. I'll never forget that day when I go to work and I'm walking in the building, there's someone behind me, and I held the door for them still. Or the elevator, I hold the elevator and I walk by, all right, have a good one. And I'll never forget thinking, because there are people out there who are just such assholes who will walk by in the street and say, fuck you, or whatever it is. And I'm thinking, on that day, I still held the door. Like, what's your fucking excuse? And I think that really says a lot about people. And the other thing that I was going, where my head went with this was, as you're saying, like, there's so much opportunity. We have time to change. This is not a political statement by any stretch, but I read this great thing where they were saying, America still is the land of the free, but a lot of people think that they're unable to do what they want or pursue what they want because of social constrictions, because of their own views of themselves and what they're supposed to be doing and what they can do within the context of their friends and family. Whereas in reality, if you want a new job and career, you can do that. You have to leave your old job and career, but you may go and have to take a step back, but you can. Like you can do any of these things at any point. It's just about either something happening to you and forcing you into a circumstance, like to me, or being able to say, hey, I'm betting on myself and I'm going to own this and do it. Also, like I was able to do, both sides of this coin.
Listen, the reality is you follow your passion. That's the number one thing in the world. Follow your passion. Now, here's what sucks. Somebody could be born into the projects of, I don't know, Queens or the Bronx, right? And they could have all the passion in the world, but they were born in a very difficult situation to meet the right people, have the relationships that maybe their parents or uncle or like some people have it a hell of a lot harder to do exactly what you're saying. But I just want to throw that's reality, right? You're born into a situation, you're born into a household, you're born into a geographical location, you're born into, I hate the idea of classes because we're all human beings, right? You never see a lot of funerals, so I don't fucking care what you have. That doesn't mean anything. Like, we're all human beings. But the other reality is some people are forced to have to be stuck in situations because they just weren't given the opportunities, maybe certain types of education or access to people that can change their life. But that doesn't mean, at least in the US, that you can't hustle and figure it out. But it's very difficult for a lot of the population to do exactly what you just said. And that's the unfortunate reality. And it's not fair, right? Your birth is a lotto. And then some people can say, I would not have achieved what I have if I wasn't born into poverty or had no access, because that gave me the drive and the motivation and the determination to go out there and get it. So it can be a motivator. But again, we're all human beings. I mean, we're not robots. And how do you get, there's too many people to just even point on the map and look at how do you get somebody out of that situation and into what you're talking about? It's not easy.
I also even think, like, I'm white, I'm straight, but like really those things alone make it so much easier to exist in the world that we do. Like all of these different factors you could look at where I have that leg up in life, and it's absolute, it's undeniable. But that said, I also think on the flip of that, there's a lot to give yourself credit for when you take those steps. Michael Corleone and Vito and what was his name? And Fredo were born into the same family, but Michael stepped up and took over things, and Fredo was weak and was a party boy and spilled
And
secrets.
cocktail waitresses 2 at a time.
Exactly. So I think for, we have like, and I mean, look at yourself. You're running this unbelievable company. You have wife, children, like you've got it made in the shade, but not everybody, given your exact circumstance, would be in the position that you're in. I think a lot of that credit is, yes, you have the leg there, but you also took that initiative and did that.
And in 2016, after a drunk driver hit me in Nashville, by the same time, 2017, I lost everything and was millions in debt, which also makes it very comfortable to tell people, hey, if you have zero, you're ahead. I was negative. I didn't file for bankruptcy. I fought back and clawed back, and it was hell. I didn't sit in the corner and cry, why me, with the shower beating on me, and I didn't go to my family for help. I just said, this is my issues. I need to figure it out. So because I went through that, but I wasn't millions of debt and didn't know anybody, right? There's a difference. I build relationships. I nurture relationships. I figured out, you said something before that I was chuckled internally. I had, for the first time when I was trying to rebuild everything, I had to value me like a slave. Like, what am I worth in the market? And not easy, right? Not an easy thing to do. I can value products. I can put a price on IP and music and technology and whatever. It's easy. Cost this is the multiple, get it to market. But then when you're looking at, what the hell am I worth? But you don't know until you have a starting point, right? And then you build onto it. And then the best thing about when I was clawing back was somebody paying me because of me. That was the coolest thing I've ever experienced. They're paying me to have me do what I do for them. What a great feeling. Then as long as you perform, they'll pay you more. And as long as you have tangible track record and history, and again, thankfully, with my journey, like, it's tangible. And I love talking about, like you talk about therapy, I love talking about, hell, I got my ass kicked. I lost everything. I got used and abused by people. I had my inner circle stole from me and bamboozled me. Like, yeah, that was all on me, not on anybody else. I'm the one that put these people here. I'm the one that created that situation. I'm the one that allowed that to happen, all on me. And unless you can do that as a human being and stop saying, oh, Michael did that or Katie did this, and no, Michael wouldn't know you or have access to you unless you allowed it to happen. No, stop doing this. That's why I love the idea of being self-aware. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to even do something that turns your life completely upside down. The important part is taking accountability for it, analyzing what the hell happened, and then, okay, that was in the past. I know that was a huge mess up. I take responsibility for it. We're going to move forward, and I'm going to learn from that, and I'm not going to allow it to happen again, and there was a reason for all of that. Those are the conversations I love having, not about, you hear about people in their stupid vacations or their stupid new cars or they just joined a private jet club. Like, I want to throw up on people like that. Like, just get away from me. Just go away. Go away. Talk to somebody that cares about all your nice materialistic things and your stupidity. It's not me. It's not me. That's why, for me, I turn down more of those deals with people like that because we're not aligned. I don't care if we make $1 billion. We are not aligned ethically, integrity. We're not aligned on morals or values or empathy. You don't care about me. You don't care about people. You just want more of the juice, and you're not going to squeeze me to get more of the juice.
Damn. I'm thinking about this. You're coming back from, you're saying millions in debt. When you found yourself back to zero, let's say, you probably had so much momentum and such you were probably ripped, like metaphorically coming out of that.
No, I'm so numb. So I like where you were going, and that's a nice fantasy. But I was so numb I'm still numb because of that. That was my Vietnam. Like, I came back from Vietnam with no legs and people spitting on me. That was my Vietnam. And I'm still numb to a win, right? Because I had so many wins in my career. So by that point, I've been working since a teenager. So let's just say from 96 to 2016, I just was like this machine. I was just crushing it. And then when all that got destroyed, and you don't have I used to co-sign for people's homes that worked for me. I would co-sign for cars. I love helping people. And not to get a second from them when I needed somebody or a person, or even my legal. The lawyers listening, go to church or go to temple. Like, you're taking millions of dollars in fees from me. And when I needed them, they knew I didn't have any money. Sorry, Brian, can't pay the bill, can't pay the retainer. That's disheartening, right? That's hard to come. That's hard for me. And I think anybody with a brain not to hate people, or not to hate humanity. But I knew, God, I'm still alive, so I got to figure this out. And if I hate people and the energy that you were talking about before, I can never come back. So I'll be living on the street somewhere, mumbling to myself if I go to being bitter or jaded. So I think when we talked before, like I need somebody to help me unpack that trauma of my life, the 2016 to, let's just say recently, like that window. How do I repair what I emotionally and psychologically? I gave myself shingles during my journey. I gave myself Bell's palsy. I lost my gallbladder 2 years ago. Like, I know all of this is stress induced, but still woke up and my limbs were working and my mouth was working and my brain was working. I had to go and fight and win and make sure my debts got paid back and didn't hurt people and got, payment schedules in place. And that was key. Because that's one reason why I didn't file for bankruptcy and that get out of jail free card is like, even if I file for bankruptcy, I'm still going to pay my debts back because that's the human being I am. If it takes the rest of my life, so why would I even go through that process? I'm just going to work with everybody. And no investors. I never took investment money. So these are leveraging my assets. These were vendors. These were credit card companies, everything you need to run a business. I just racked up, it took me out of the equation. The machine wasn't working. So again, when we talk about therapist, I need the right therapist to help me unpack that to get back to what you were getting at, to feel this amazing strength of, wow, look what I went through, look what I overcome, and look what I figured out, and look how I managed to break through all this. So I do need to figure that out. I do need to repair that chapter of my life internally for sure.
Well, I can give you my number. I'm more than happy to. I can vouch very good things there. But, all of that said, and I imagine you do have a lot to unpack. And I've heard a lot of people say, I don't need therapists. Like, I have my kids. I have a best friend. And it's like, there's a difference when it comes to someone who is a mental health professional. She had a great line where she's like, what I'm doing, like, I'm like, wow, you're really sharp. And she goes, I'm not sharp. I'm shining the flashlight and you're telling me what you see. And I thought that was a good analogy. But, all that to be said, I'm sure you have a lot to unpack. But one of the things that I've been taking away as you're saying this and talking about this journey from even our earlier conversation is you do have really strong perspective and you've been successful. You lost a lot. You seem to be professionally, financially, whatever it may be, successful, like from what I can gauge. But at the same time, I think one of the things we bonded on is that's 20% of it, if that. The other 80% of who you are is outside of all this shit. It's not like, well, what's in the bank account? Is it plus, minus, or zero? It's, no, I'm going to pay these people back. Like, that's a real deal thing. Or valuing your family and how you treat your friends. And then as you're saying, you see someone with the big belt logo, like, I don't give a fuck. And if you think that that's the 80%, then we have a very big disconnect. And maybe you don't, but that's just, you have other shit. You're not happy with the other part of your life. And so that's what you're going to lean on. Or myself, when I'll look at my pipeline and I'm like, oh, it's not big enough. I'm a fucking failure. And it's like, what is wrong with you?
But I think having those conversations with yourself is really healthy. As long as if you find a way to put in perspective on what do you need. If you're trying to accomplish something because your soul wants it, bravo. Well, I'll be in the trenches with you and fight with you every day. But if you're trying to accomplish something because you want to show off or you want to obtain more and more things, you're a lost soul. Not you, but in general, I think you're just a lost soul.
I think there's a difference between what do you want and what do you need. And if it's like, well, I need that bigger pipeline. Why? Why do you need that? Whereas if I want a bigger pipeline, that's fine. Like, bully for you.
There's a lot of times I had to learn. This is what's interesting about people. Well, a lot of things are interesting about people, but you can grow up with somebody and know somebody intimately and know how they work, how they maneuver, and you can do something great with them. Then they meet a significant other, or they get a spouse, male or female. Now you're not dealing with just their mentality. Now you have to deal with whatever the other person's needs and wants are and demanding it on that person. And the domino effect now comes back to you. So like even the deals that we do or people that I go into business with, like I need to sit down and understand the family dynamic before I do anything. I need to understand, all right, guy or girl, you're the one that's your skill set's strong and everything is perfect. What is the demand on you at home? Because if I have to deal with you and somebody else through you, I'm out. Like I need to know that you're your own person and your own individual, because I've seen so many great people that don't want for anything, but then they marry somebody that needs to have a home on the Upper East Side. They need to have a beach house. That burden becomes your burden. Even though you have a great person that's either working for you or partnering with you, you're carrying that other person's home life with you. And you can't fix that. You can never fix that.
So we're saying that work is 20%, right? And then the rest is 80. I think people underestimate how important that 80%, like how much that impacts. How you feel about yourself outside of work, how much does that actually impact who you are at work? And you may have on the surface, everything looks great, but if you're like kind of crumbling on the inside at work, you're fighting against something. Maybe again, like I was saying, I'm putting in extra hours and I'm killing myself. Why? Because there's like a rot on the inside of me out there that maybe not everyone can see, but I know is there, and I'm trying to make peace with that.
And my motivation behind exactly what you're saying is I never want to be in that 2016 moment again. That's why I'm so diversified. I never want to be in that position ever, 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 ever again. So that's why I'm always out there making sure I have, when you're in your words, pipeline. I'm always have great things in motion and opportunities, no matter what markets are doing, no matter what industry is doing. Like, I don't know, an asteroid would have to hit Earth and everything would have to stop for what I built to have zero value, right? It's just so diversified and such great people and such great energy. So I believe firmly I will never be in that position again based upon what I learned from it and how I restructured my comeback.
Well, that's what we're saying, man. We live and we learn, we grow. And like you were saying before, if you don't acknowledge when there was a fault or a problem and learn from it, that's on you. These things are opportunities, and it's easy to say standing here when things are fine. When it happens, it's hard to see it that way. But I think most of the time it ends up proving there's something to be taken from anything. Every action is an equal and opposite reaction.
You're going to have to go call your therapist after this.
I was going to say, I don't think you and I are capable of having small talk. I think if we were standing in line in an airport together, we'd be like,
very true.
Talk about football. It would just be like into the depths of our souls.
Those are the magic moments when you connect with somebody. So I'm grateful for meeting you and having this opportunity today.
Dude, this is unbelievable. I'm so grateful you were on the show, man.
Yeah, me too.
Cheers.
Cheers to Jeremy Roenick.
To Jeremy Roenick, to hockey, man.
Great scene from Swingers when Vince Vaughn is talking about Jeremy Roenick when he's playing then.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. God, he was so good. He was such a good player. And
or maybe it was Gretzky. Shit, it might have been a Gretzky reference. For your listeners, don't get mad at me.
Great movie, though.
I think it was look at little Gretzky's legs are broken. I think that was the reference.
Oh my God. We read the hockey players alphabet, this little book to my daughter. And I always swear, I'm like, I'm not pushing hockey on her. And everyone's like, yeah, okay. And like, you'll ask her like, Ava, like, what is B for? And she'll go, Martin Brodeur. And you're like, holy fuck. Gee, Gordie Howe.
This is great.
This is the dream, man.
Is Mario Lemieux in there?
Yes, he's letter X. And that's one of her favorite ones. Mario Lemieux.
I want to go through I want to guess them all.
I got like 10 minutes left, so we can go through it.
That's all right.
Who do you think A is?
No. What I want to do is sit down with you. That's a good drinking game. That's a great drinking game.
I would love that.
That's a good one.
It is such a good one. It's like one of those games you play when you're trying to fall asleep.
Awesome.
God. Who's your team, by the way?
The Blackhawks.
Oh, that's right, the Blackhawks.
But I mean, I supported the Devils even when they were in Colorado. Like, I've always been a fan of the Jersey Devils.
Well, that worked out for you if you were a fan of the Colorado Rockies and they happen to move into your town.
Yeah. But I'm even a Cubs fan. I don't know why. This goes back to the Ryan Sandberg days. I'm a Bears fan. So something about Chi-Town I love. Why I don't always love Jersey or New York teams, the fans. It's why I can't love certain Philadelphia teams, because the fans just make it very difficult.
I get that. Listen, as a Jet fan, we've also been through a lot. Like,
oh my goodness, Kenny O'Brien, that was a huge.
Give us a break. Like, yeah, my son was born in July. Like, I have a family friend called me. He's a Flyers fan, and he hears my baby crying, and he's like, "Oh, is it because the Rangers lost yesterday?" And I'm like, "It might be," but I'm like, yeah, he's having like a tough time this football season. Like, he was born in July, and I'm like, "Hey, Miles, nice to meet you. Listen, I got some bad news. Like, you're a Jet fan." I'm so sorry, man. Yeah. I grew up in New Jersey, so my dad was a Giants fan. My mom's side, they had Jets tickets. And so my dad was like, I knew I was going to lose the Jet-Giant battle. You guys are going to Jet games. And I said to him, I'm like, because I grew up in Bergen County, I'm like, Dad, it's so crazy. Like, how am I not a Devil fan. They played in Bergen County. Like, how often does a hockey team play in your county? How am I a Ranger fan? And he goes, I knew I was losing the Giant battle. If you thought I was losing the Rangers to the fucking Devils, like, you're out of your mind.
Those were some of the best games. Well, man, we crushed it. I appreciate it.
Dude, this was awesome. Let me know if you're ever like heading into the city and you got an open hour. I'll come in and meet you.
Absolutely. Well, I'm up in Ridgefield a lot.
Dude, you let me know next time you're in Ridgefield. I'll come out and see you wherever you are. We'll grab a bourbon and we'll talk about our souls.
Bourbon and a burger sounds perfect for me.
Twist my arm.
Well, Max, it was great, man. A happy anniversary. Wish you a lifetime of love and happiness with you brought.
Thank you so much, Brian. I'm so glad I met you, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, pal. Stay well.
See you, dude.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Closing Conversations. Big thanks to Brian Esposito for coming on and going there with me. This was one of those conversations that reminds you what matters: perspective, integrity, self-awareness, and building a life that actually supports the work, not the other way around. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, or send it to someone who needs to hear it, especially the person who looks successful on paper but might be carrying a lot quietly. For more on building sales teams that deliver and doing it without burning out, visit www.commissionsales.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, let's get closing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget, you can always catch us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for more episodes of Closing Conversations.